Applause for Inside Llewyn Davis, right? Everyone enjoy the film. It's a really special film. It comes out in December, and so if you enjoyed it, and I hope everyone did, you have to go tell everybody you know about it. Because it's a film I think people really need to experience. It's something different, something special. And in just a minute, we're going to have the star of the film, Oscar Isaac, join us. So I thank you all for staying around, and you can take a second, This is working, okay. Take a second or two and come up with a question that you want to ask. Oh, and right now, let's do this. So please, a round of applause for the star of the film, Oscar Isaac. I should have said the well-shaven Oscar.
Yeah, less hair. Thanks for sticking around, guys.
So this is a fantastic film, and I can't wait to buy the soundtrack. How different is it to shoot a film like this with all that music from something more standard, I guess?
Well, yeah, it's quite different, particularly because it's the only cathartic moments the character ever gets. He's obviously an island unto himself and very reserved, and well, maybe reserved's not the right word, but he's disconnected and very internal, and so the only times he opens up is with that music. So that's why it was so important for all of it to be done live. So all the playing and singing was done all live.
How many takes does that net?
Well, they don't do that many takes, so I'd say about 5 per setup. And if there was like 4 or 5 setups, 20 to 25 takes.
That's a few, yeah.
That's a few.
And so this film was one of the toasts at Cannes, and it was a wild experience. That's where I first saw it. How was your experience there? Was that
it was my 3rd time there, and I think it was Russell Crowe that had said, "If you like gold lame shorts, then you'll love Cannes." And it's always a strange place. It's a bit of a circus, but I hadn't anticipated the film getting the reception it did. People really loved it, and I feel like got it and understood it in a really particular way, and so it was great.
You guys want to jump in? I know there are probably... Wow, okay. We'll start right here.
Yeah, I just thought it was awesome how you were in Carey Mulligan in this, and how you were with her in Drive. And you sort of had that deadpan act going on in both movies. But how was it more different in this movie than it was in Drive?
Yeah, the difference between this one and Drive,
yeah.
with which I was in Carey Mulligan in both. She's a lot louder in this one. But we developed a trust and really such a fan of hers. And when you have trust with another actor, that allows you to go even wilder and be even more cruel because there's that trust there. So it was great.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
What was your favorite song in the movie to record?
I'd probably say I really liked The Shoals of Herring, the one that I sang to my father. It was an unusual song and one that was unexpectedly emotional. So I really liked that one.
I was taken by your final comment, like you love being a professor because they got it, they understood it. Could you say more about what you're suggesting in that comment?
Yeah, I think that the balance of desperation and absurdity, which is at the heart of Coen films in general. The idea that it was the theater of the common man, which is what they do. The fact that there was a protagonist that wasn't asking to be liked or even for any sympathy, and yet they were able to, for the most part, it felt like people were able to, if not like him, at least understand his situation, and that understood the structure of the film, that the film itself is a folk song. Usually a structure in a folk song is a verse, a chorus, second verse, chorus, third verse, chorus, and then the first verse again. And by the end of the journey of the song, that last verse means something different. So the movie is a bit like that as well. Hmm?
I'm curious about your take on the type of music that was through there. Were you a fan of this music before you did the role? And are there certain songs and musicians that you listen to before?
Yeah, I grew up listening to Dylan, but I wasn't really aware of the pre-Dylan era, that vacuum that he came into. So when I started working on the film, I didn't know about Dave Van Ronk, and I just latched on to him and learned his repertoire, learned his style of playing. I didn't know how to Travis pick before, and that's the style of picking that I do, which is basically where the thumb is the metronome and plays the bass line, and the fingers independently play the melody. And that's something that I had to learn for it. And, there's a lot of artists that I wasn't aware of. Karen Dalton, for instance, is one that I just blew my mind, and her singing and her story, which is so tragic as well. So, it got me hooked for sure now. I can't stop playing that now.
Did the Coen brothers ever think of a happier ending?
No way. I mean, I was just listening to actually a Dave Van Ronk song on the way here called Silver Dagger, where everybody, at the end it says, everybody stab yourself with a silver dagger. And, the folk music's pretty dark, man. I mean, the real stuff is dark. So, I think the happy ending maybe is that, and obviously I'm not very objective, but is that he stays true to at least his idea of what authenticity might be, even to the sacrifice of his own success. And I think within that, maybe there's something happy, I don't know, heroic. I don't know. Anybody else?
Were there a lot of other songs recorded, or any other songs recorded for the film that didn't make it in? Like performances by you?
No. No. I did a full version of Cocaine that I kind of just strum a little bit before F. Murray comes in. And that one we had recorded a full bit. That didn't even make it to the soundtrack, I guess. But no, they're pretty tight that way.
Were you a singer first or an actor?
They kind of happened simultaneously. They happened at the same time. The first play I ever did was a musical that I wrote about Noah's Ark, where I played a singing platypus. So it all happened at the same time.
What happened to that play? Are we going to see that soon?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, Darren Aronofsky just...
That's no. Right.
He may have cut the platypus out. I don't know, but...
Did you toy with the idea of singing more like Dave Van Ronk? I mean, growling and kind of, harsh. You got a much nicer, sweeter voice than he did.
Yeah, I didn't. I thought that, I just knew that when I came into the audition, I was just going to sing as true to my own voice as I could with some of those circumstances. And then I figured if I got the part and they wanted me to sound like him, they'd have a team of experts with all sorts of contraptions to get me to sound like that. And when I showed up to T-Bone Burnett's plays, who produced the music, that never happened. In fact, he would push me the other way. He'd say, just sing it like you're singing to yourself, like just on your couch. And so it's not Dave Van Ronk. It's clearly not Dave Van Ronk. Llewyn's not the mayor of anything. And so it was an inspiration, really the blue-collar aspects of him, the merchant marine thing, the fact that he's a kid from the boroughs, and his repertoire of music. But that's about it.
But also, he was kind of an unlikable guy, wasn't he?
He was surly. He's been described as surly, but at the same time, he's larger than life and gregarious. And you see him in that Martin Scorsese documentary, No Direction Home, and he's a talker, and highly political, and so quite different. But yeah, that was an inspiration. The idea of someone that's maybe not totally a people person.
Hi, how do you feel that your personal life reflects on the character of Llewyn?
Well, as an actor, you bring everything, and for me, I don't see it so much as playing a different person, but playing a version of me under vastly different circumstances. What if I was born in this place and lived this life at this time? So everything that I've learned and experienced, bring to it, or try to.
Thank you.
Welcome.
I have to ask about the cat too.
Yes.
What's it like working with a cat? Do you throw it off? About a cat running out of the car during those scenes. It's like, oh, I'm gonna do this. But anyway.
Yes. Well, I was bit by a cat like 4 years ago and put in the hospital for 2 days. And so when I showed up to the set, and they're like, we've got 4 cats, and we're going to attach them to you and have you run into the subway as fast as you can. It was daunting. And cats are hard to train. Or maybe even one would say untrainable. So they had these different cats with different personalities depending on what the scene needed. And so you had the more relaxed cat, the more sedated type cat that you could just carry and it wouldn't move. But sometimes that cat would look kind of dead. So they needed one that was a little more squirrely, and that would be the one that would freak out every once in a while and try to claw its way away from me.
Any injuries?
Oh, some face scratches, but no bites, thankfully.
Where was the gaslight scenes filmed?
That was filmed in a warehouse in Brooklyn. Yeah.
And the same with the Gate of Horn.
Gate of Horn was, the outside was shot up in Harlem, and the inside was down close to Irving Plaza, down there.
All New York, right?
All New York, yeah. There's a couple, when we're in the car, inside the car, that was all shot on a green screen in a studio in Yonkers. But I think they shot some of those backgrounds in Minnesota. But other than that, everything was in New York.
And how long was the shoot?
It's about 6 to 7 weeks in there. So it was pretty quick shoot.
What was it like working with Justin? How did he take to the folk music?
I thought he took quite well to it. He's got an incredible range. So the scene with the guys that kind of resemble the Clancy brothers in the sweaters? That's Justin and Marcus doing the bass. So they did stereo bass. Basically, T-Bone put a mic in the middle, and Chris Steele, who's the singer for the Punch Brothers, the mandolin player, he sang the lead part, and the other Punch Brothers sang the other parts, and then Marcus and Justin sang the bass. And I couldn't believe it when I just saw that sound coming out of his mouth, because we're so used to his range being quite high. So he was great. He was very joyful and helpful the whole time. Oh, thank you.
Start to feel physically tired after a while compared to being so tired throughout.
I think my biggest acting feat in the film is that I'm not smiling from ear to ear in every take, because I just couldn't believe my luck. It was honestly the most exciting, joyful experience of my entire life, and so I never once felt tired.
I have to ask, just because the names popped up, was there a reason that the characters were Jim and Jean, which were Bill Otis's roommate and Glover?
Mm-hmm.
Was that purposely done, or do you have any idea?
Yeah, I think purposely done as far as it's an amalgamation. They're all fictitious characters, but it's all taken from a bunch of different things. Obviously, Troy Nelson being a Tom Paxton-like character, and so it was done with some consciousness.
I asked because that's the only real folk group that follows within the name.
Right, yeah. I mean, I know the Coens are well versed in that whole. Yes.
So wasn't that Dylan's voice?
At the end.
Yeah, so was there a statement being made? Because the others were amalgams.
Yeah.
But it was Dylan.
Mm-hmm.
You were sort of
Comes and erases everything. Yeah, I mean, I think in a way the film's quite apocalyptic. It's like he's wandering around in the end times and waiting for the Messiah to come, which is Dylan. So yeah, you know, he does. He comes in, and there's that amazing shot that I remember even on set when I saw it. I was like, that was incredible. Where the bars, you know, the railing of the bar just shuts like a cell on his future. So yeah, I think that there's a reason they held off, and then you hear that voice come in like a bell.
All right, we'll do one more.
Okay, sorry.
No, please.
This is like a compliment turning into like a question, so just bear with me.
Those are the best.
Your deadpan comedic timing was impeccable. I just kept laughing at every single thing you said, and that's kind of why I'm wondering how exactly when you read a Coen Brothers script, because they're so off kilter and so weird, how do you put your own deadpan, like your Hulk comedy style, into a Coen Brothers script?
Right. Well, a lot of that is in the writing. You know, there's a lot of ellipses in a Coen Brothers script, which feels like parentheses that say "act here." You know, and so, you know, really for me, the barometer. Obviously, there's rhythmic things for comedic effect, but really, whenever I felt honestly and truly in the most despair and in the most pain, is when they would laugh the loudest. So that was my barometer. You know, and it's, you know, that comedy of resilience. I thought a lot about someone like Buster Keaton, who similarly has this impassive, melancholic face, you know, in all these near-death experiences that he's having. And there was something about that I liked a lot too. So I think I played with that, more of the non-reaction than the reaction.
Yeah, when people like overreacting towards you, like your scenes with Carey Mulligan, she would just be like yelling at you.
Yeah, you just take it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, good job on it.
Thank you very much.
All right, so can we have another round of applause?
Thank you very much for sticking around. Thanks for coming, everyone.